Thank you, Sophie. Welcome, everyone. So I'm Hasse. I'm Director at Climate Adaptation Services and working on the SAFE4ALL project, where we are developing a range of climate services, and we particularly focus on the Climate Atlas. I'll be serving like a light starter today to raise your appetite for the topic. The main course will be served by Monica, and please leave some room for the nice dessert that Havert will serve. So I'll just keep it quite simple and just give you an overview of what climate services are, and I'll share some examples. So yeah, we were wondering who is familiar with the concept of climate services. So do you know already what climate services are? The 7% says they are familiar and only 30% are not familiar. All right. Help individuals and organizations make climate smart decisions. So that is the definition that we use. Now, there are various types of climate smart decisions to be made by different types of users. For instance, farmers want to know when the rains will start, when the rains will stop, how much rain can be expected to be able to better manage their farms. But then also health workers may want to know when is a heat wave happening, or when should we plan our vaccination schemes, for instance. But also investors, financial sector, increasingly have a demand for climate information, climate risk information, because they want to know are investments climate proof or prone to climate risks. So there's a variety of different types of users with different types of questions. Now, the challenge is to bring data to the users in the right format so that they can understand and base their decisions upon tailored information. Now, the challenge is that although there is a large and growing body of climate data out there, this data is often hard to find, so scattered around different portals with a different geographical focus, and the data is sometimes difficult to use and understand because it's offered in different formats that not everyone can handle or deal with. You often find that climate services portals are too generic. So, for instance, the IPCC portal, which is really nice, it covers the entire globe, but it is often not fit for purpose for local decision making. So climate services is really about tailoring information, making it fit for purpose for a variety of different users. Therefore, data alone is not enough. The data is sort of the starting point, and climate services is about transforming the data into usable products. Now, what we see is that there is a growing supply of knowledge out there. So researchers and climate scientists are doing their best to produce the data, and there's a growing demand from society. And what is missing and what is really needed is to build a better bridge to cross or to bring demand and supply together. So building that bridge is what climate services is all about. We have different types of services, and we use different types of media and tools to bring climate data across. We used to rely on radio forecasts. We also have weather forecasts in the news, but nowadays we also have access to smartphones to get access to this weather and climate information. And we use that every day in small decisions that we make every day. For instance, I bike to work, and in the mornings I check my phone to find out what the temperatures will be. Is there rain to be expected? So I can base these small everyday decisions on weather information, and I use apps for that. And the chatbot that will be demonstrated by Monica is an example of such a weather service that you use on sort of a day-to-day basis. But there are also decisions to be made on a longer term or a medium term. So for instance, for farming, you want to know the seasonal projections of temperature. You want to know what can I expect in the coming season. So that is adaptive decision making on the medium term. On the longer term, you may want to know, is the water resource that we are utilizing, is that sustainable? Will it still give water in 10 or 20 years' time? So those are longer term strategic decisions that you would like to base on long-term climate projections. So climate services covers a range from real-time decision making up to longer-term planning, strategic planning, where you look at decades from now. So it's a continuum that we are trying to cover. Now, in the SAFE4ALL project, we are trying to cover this whole continuum. So we have a suite of different types of services, ranging from, say, the here and now real-time weather forecasts like the Drop app and the chatbot that Monica will demonstrate, up to the regional level where you look at years and decades, and the climate atlas comes in there. So in the project, we are covering this range, and today we are focusing on an example of a localized day-to-day tool, the chatbot, but also we'll look at the climate atlas, which also looks at projections for the longer term. Now, to give you some examples of services that we have developed and used in the past, in the Netherlands, we have a climate atlas, which is now being used by real estate investors and the financial sector, because they want to know, are my assets potentially at risk? And they have invested in buildings, in properties, and they want to know, are they prone to floods, for example? So we have very detailed flood maps available for all cities in our country, and investors can check which buildings are susceptible to floods. So here you see a snapshot of an area, and yeah, you can check whether the building is likely to be inundated in case of a flooding event. So this is one example. A different example, totally different example, is a service that we produced for the Heineken company, the beer company. They source barley all over the world. They need barley to produce beer. And they wanted to know which parts of the country are susceptible to climate change and where is barley yield likely to be affected. So what we try to do here is to map the optimum temperature days for barley. So the temperature range where barley production functions well. So you see here the green areas are more suitable to produce barley, and the yellow areas are less suitable. And this is the example of Mexico. Now here we have the reference period. And then if we move towards the future, we see now that around mid-century, some areas that were green have turned yellow. And by the end of the century, even more areas will turn to less suitable. So for the brewery, for Heineken's future investments, this is very vital information. And they want to know, are my breweries or the sourcing areas in the right areas, and should I invest in Mexico, or should I maybe move to other countries to source barley from? So this is a completely different example of a climate service where you really have a long-term perspective. So climate services cover many sectors, and there are different demands from different sectors, so ranging from short-term to long-term decision making. And what climate service, what we try to do is to develop fit for purpose services for each of these sectors. Okay, so what is really important when we design a service is that we, of course, use relevant, reliable, localized, and timely data. And data is the starting point, and it's really important that you make the right choices there. But what is equally important is that you're capable of transforming this into clear, simple, and actionable messages. So the tailoring of the information to the needs of decision makers is really important. So also think about how to package the information, how to deliver the information, how to maintain the service, because the data needs to be updated. Yeah, so maintenance is really important, and to develop services in a user-driven fashion. So trying to understand the needs of users and to adopt a co-development process. So working together with users, engage with users throughout the project. The process is really crucial. Okay, that is all I wanted to share with you, just to give you a brief overview.